I guess let's pick up where I guess the Ninja Tour. I'm trying to think. I was putting these dates up so I can remember when everything after the Ninja Tour you went over to Europe for a few dates, festivals mostly, right?
Yeah.
And everything's still going smooth at this point.
Yes, relatively speaking. Yeah. So that would have been, is that, let's see,
The
we
dates,
did Voodoo Fest.
well, the dates I have in front are like Poland, Spain, and this is like July of '09. This is
Right,
before
right, right.
before Lollapalooza.
Yes, right, right, right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, because that sort of felt like it was the end of Ninja because Nails was were doing some shows with us and some not, and but
Yeah.
it was sort of, you know, um, a continuous line from Ninja, um, and yeah, and that all went
Yes.
without a hitch, for the most part. And then we came back, and then we were going to do Australia.
Right. And that got
Um,
canceled because of Steven's
Steven's
injury.
elbow, yeah.
Okay.
And so then that means then that it's
Then Lollapalooza is the next day. Or at any point, are you thinking, I'm ready to bail on this? Let me just finish these dates that I've committed to, and I'm ready to get out of this.
yes, yes. I believe it was after trying to remember. It was during the time when we came back because I considered not going to Australia for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
So after
but then
Lollapalooza,
decided,
you had a couple of dates, a couple of odd dates. The New Orleans Voodoo Festival, and then y'all went over
right,
to Brazil and did that one-off
right,
show.
right,
Y'all were rumored to do more shows in South America, but I guess you didn't do them.
right, right. Yeah. See, now at that point, I had told them that I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I guess I told Perry in between. Maybe I guess it was maybe after Lollapalooza. Um, because I remember they were asking me, like, I got a phone call from their manager saying, would you do, um, a Guns N' Roses thing? And this was even before they talked to Perry, because Perry had some electronic festival he was gonna do or whatever, and so it may not have happened anyway, even if I had said yes. But I said no, I didn't want to do Guns N' Roses South America tour. Because
Like a
initially there was talk of it there being something with Yeah Yeah Yeahs or something in South America, and
yeah.
it sounded cool. And I forget who else, Yeah Yeah Yeahs and someone else, but anyway, it sounded cool, but that it didn't time out or whatever. That never happened, and it became Guns N' Roses. And um, but I had told Perry, I guess it was because Lollapalooza was the final. Um, Well, it was apparent the day of Lollapalooza. If it wasn't apparent up to that point, it was starkly apparent, um, that Perry was just not into Jane's because that's the morning that he sprung. He loosed. Is it I Like 'Em Big? I think he loosed
Uh,
I Like 'Em Big on the world
all
that
right.
morning. Um,
The video.
you know, and that's the morning of, the return to Lollapalooza, and here we are, all these years later, and all that stuff, and it's just, I mean, you know, like questions of taste aside, it's just a very odd choice
Yeah.
to put out something like that the morning of the Jane's show, Lollapalooza, first time that four of us have played it since '91. There's like a built-in story there, and he tried to um, he inflicted that on us. So
Maybe
that was that,
maybe trying to get
like,
some attention for that. or
Oh
piggyback
yeah,
on
yeah.
Jane's addiction.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I'm sure what the strategery was, yeah. But that was, that I think that was really the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Uh, because it was just, and then from that point forward, then it became, because like it was going to be, see, now I don't even know if Perry made this deal or not.
Yeah.
Supposedly, this deal was made that if we could have Ninja the way we wanted it, Perry could do whatever he wanted to do with Lollapalooza in terms of spending copious amounts of money on production and dancers and
Yeah.
skits and bullshit and all that stuff. So, and so Ninja was, pared down, and then Lollapalooza was going to be whatever, and to be fair, it was his night and his thing and all that. So,
Yeah.
and that's how it turned out. And lots of money got spent, and um, and then after that, going forward, the assumption from Perry was that that was now going to be how it was going to be. Because I had said that I thought that it was a bad idea for Etsy to be on stage. Like, even if you wanted somebody to do that sort of dancing or whatever,
Yeah.
I thought it was a bad idea that it was somebody's wife, because for the obvious reasons. But like, if somebody's wife is up there, then all of a sudden, if you have a creative, bone to pick with that idea, then all of a sudden you're talking about somebody's wife. And, so anyway, that's what I had said, that I thought it was a bad idea. If you have to do dancers, let's just not have anyone's wife be it. Which, of course, his panties got all in a twist about that. And I just sort of, at that point, I just sort of threw up my hands and was like, I just, like, people had been telling me he's just not worth the fight. Like,
Yeah.
in 91, yeah. Now he's just not, there are just too many people out there in the world that come up with really fantastic ideas and really creative, and who are handfuls, and you've got to deal with it in order to get the creative ideas. So be it. That guy's not one of them anymore. He used to be, but he's not that anymore. So anyway, I called him, told him that I had lost faith that we were going to be able to do this in any viable way. He said that he didn't agree, and I said that's fine, but that's how I feel about it. So there was actually one more. Dinner was sort of corralled and stuff, but I just basically sat there and was told that Perry is really into it now and is really going to focus on it, and he's just going to do it. And, are you in? And I said, no,
Yeah.
So it was just, I guess he just wanted to have one last uncomfortable dinner with me. So,
Pay you back.
yeah. So so then it was sort of, I think that was before Voodoo.
Yeah.
Might have been after, but I think it was before Voodoo. And then we did Voodoo, and that was the night I really got, like, I had gotten little twinges before of feeling not good, just feeling sort of like feeling douche chills for myself, kind of like, this isn't right, this is bad, stop, like, I look across the stage and what I'm seeing, it's just not right. And so
What was it? Was it the cape that he wore that night?
well, that well, that particular outfit didn't help in the other way. But I mean, but like, before I poke fun, I mean, I was always fond of strange Perry, and when he did strange things, that was fine. Like, even if I would have dressed him differently, who cares? Like, I'm the bass player, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, it was just, I mean, like, put it this way. So So they put out the voodoo picture, the voodoo DVD
Yeah.
of the live thing. And that was one last time where I was trying to like go, okay, if you're going to do that, let's do it. Like let's use Song Remains the Same as the model and try to like do some creative stuff with it. Do news footage and that isn't live footage and intersperse and whatever, And of course it fell on deaf ears and nobody wanted to do that and they just wanted the thing done and then my friend calls me who's a fan, a Jane's fan.
Yeah.
And he calls me and he goes, I was at Amoeba today and I wanted to buy the Voodoo DVD and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't walk around with that cover picture. I just felt really embarrassed. And he's somebody who would be recognized,
Yeah.
And he goes, I hate to say it, but I just felt embarrassed. And I got that phone message. I was sitting with my wife at lunch. I got the phone message and I told her about it. And I said, I bet I know what picture it is that they used on the cover. And she said, what? And I said, the one where it's sort of like a Liberace hood ornament kind of like moment, like this sort of toreador, whatever.
Yeah.
And so on her phone, she pulled it up and she's like, she showed it to me. She's like, you were right. But anyway, so, yeah, so there was no, at a certain point, there was no reviving the original spirit.
Yeah.
And by that, I don't mean like in my vision for Jane's Addiction now was actually that I wanted to apply the same rules that we did the first time to our creative process, which was that we just allowed our influences to inform us about how we went forward. But we didn't try to imitate anything, like, Perry and I talked about it overtly in Jane's Addiction 1.0, that we both loved Joy Division. We both loved Velvet Underground. And so we wanted that spirit to be with us, but we didn't want to sound like that. We didn't want to sound like we were imitating the people that we, and I wanted that. And I wanted Perry's electronics to be involved, or just an electronic element to be involved, because I felt like there's more interesting stuff going on in electronics than there are in rock bands these days. And so I feel like that's just what excites me, it's what excites Perry. That should be a part of it. We shouldn't try to be making Jane's Addiction music from 1990,
Yeah.
So when all this talk about going back to the original spirit, I didn't want it to go unsaid that I didn't think I wanted to try to make Jane's Addiction, like Ritual Part 2 or whatever. So, because I remember talking about that with Perry actually, and saying we were driving to rehearsal, and I said, working with Trent's going to be really great because we're going to be able to learn so much shit about synths and all the gadgets that are cool to us, And I should have known then because he just sort of glazed over and had no response.